This was a little bit different. I want to talk today a little bit about my legacy and something I've been doing that I'm really passionate about and how I'm paying it forward and kind of some of the impacts I've already seen in doing that. So let's go. I love baseball. I love how it's not necessarily the best athlete, but so much of the mental aspects of the game that really are important. Baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical. It's a famous Yogi Bear quote if you don't know it, and do the math, that clearly doesn't add up. Confidence, knowing what to do, preparation, history of the game, and for any statisticians out there, large sample sizes, right? Baseball is a game of numbers, history, and it's just a ton of fun. I love sharing baseball and all this with next generation. And over 20 years ago, when I graduated from college, I remember the long drive home trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. No job at the time. And I remember that I started coming up with a bucket list of things I wanted to do. Well, coaching baseball for 30 years was one of the things on that bucket list. I coached a 14U team shortly after college with a couple of college buddies. We didn't know what we were doing, but we still had a blast. A couple of years later, I got on with a 14U travel ball team as an assistant coach. Sure, my weekends were riding around to tournaments with a bunch of kids, but at 26, 27 years old, it kept me out of trouble, and it was much cheaper than the other things I possibly could have been doing. I also knew that I didn't know what I didn't know, and there's a bunch of things about coaching that I could really learn from someone who was in the trenches and was more experienced in it. And at this point, I got a chance to learn from a legend. So for 2 seasons, there I was keeping scorebook, coaching first base, and learning just as much as the kids were from Coach Ray. How to teach kids fundamentals, how to play baseball the right way, and how to love the game. So all this leads to the real story here. A few years ago, I was at the dentist getting my teeth cleaned and heard walk into the room. Hey, Coach Kyle. Yes, there are actually people out there that call me this. There was one of the players from that 14U team who was now working for my regular dentist, kind of filling in when he needed to take days off, and was coming in to check my teeth. I can't tell you how cool and even proud of a moment that was. Someone who I'd thrown buckets of balls to 15 plus years ago was now a successful and contributing member of society and a dentist. Wow. And still thought of me as Coach Kyle. So we caught up a little bit, and Evan checked my wife's teeth shortly after. Yes, me and my wife go to the same dentist on the same time just to kind of knock it out together. We're in different rooms. And he was telling her about me before I'd met my wife and how much just I love baseball. Cool moment for me. So this week is opening week for 8U fall ball. I think this is my 10th season coaching, 8 of them youth with a couple of company softball teams thrown in from way back in the day. HubSpot softball, anybody that remembers. So I'm only 1/3 of the way to the bucket list goal. And now I can't help and wonder, watching these 8 and under kids, my son included, that I'm coaching now, what are they going to be like in 15 years when they're adults? What kind of impact am I going to have on their life? How are they going to remember me? And I just love this. I just love being able to pass baseball and the love of the game onward. And this is how legacies happen, right? This is how we live forever. We live forever through the things that we can teach and impart and share with future generations. And, that's it. That's the story. Tonight's Tuesday. I'm filming this a little bit early, and tonight's the first game of the season. And I would encourage any of you, find out what you're really passionate about. What do you love? And how can you volunteer and pay it forward? How can you give a little bit of that love and passion to the next generation so that you can also live forever? And I'm curious, what's on your bucket list? What are you passing on to future generations, and what's your legacy? This is what I want part of mine to be. And this is how I'm doing it. Now just be curious, what are you doing? Hope everybody has a great week. If you're enjoying these, please share them. Always glad to get new readers. It's super easy to subscribe on Substack, and we'll do it all again next week. Take care, everybody.